Hi everybody, my name is Tom Solid and this is Enrico Nahler from the Paperless Ltd company who are doing...
Yeah, what exactly?
Yeah, what exactly? And that's what Enrico will tell you now. So it's a German company actually, as far as I know, helping companies to become paperless.
Yeah.
You will tell you.
Yeah, we help companies to go paperless, which is not always an easy thing, especially in Germany.
Yeah. We love paper.
Yeah. I mean, we are standing in the middle of our paper production area, the Black Forest. Germans love paper and they don't like change, which is why we have the buzzword digitization, in German Digitalisierung, going up and down in the media at the moment, which is interesting because when I did my research on digitization, I found that in the US, in the 80s and early 90s, digitization was actually done already because books were scanned, every workflow was somehow transformed into the computer world, and that was digitization. It was the bringing computers into the workspace era. And today in Germany we only have one word, which is digitization for everything. In America you say big data, artificial intelligence, you have augmented reality, you have all these wonderful words. In Germany we say digitization. So what we do is not digitization. We are the translators, the interpreters for the people who have to work in the environments that are built by the IT people. So that is why we help. We kind of build the bridge between the workplace and the IT people.
Entschuldigung.
What?
Ich habe mir gerade vorgestellt, wie das ausschaut mit dem kleinen Mikrofon.
Okay.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah. That's cool. It's good. So we build the bridge between the IT guys setting up the servers and the whole technology infrastructure, and the workforce, who we always say Gisela 57, which is some stereotype. It's the standard secretary position. It's an elderly lady who is used to work with paper, who is used to run downstairs.
So that's your target audience.
It's the target audience is any small, medium-sized or big business who actually wants to go forward into the era of new work. Right, like we have so many silos in our companies where people don't actually know what the guy next door is doing. So you have to encourage people to go next door, open the door, and ask, "Hey, what are you doing here exactly?" Right? So it's about bringing everyone in the company to the same level of knowledge, which is not always easy. Okay, and what we don't do is we don't implement software that we have built, but we consult on what the best setup for the company would be. So,
and I think that's a really good position you have there, because you can choose from much more options, opportunities you can choose from for the company.
Yeah.
You don't try to sell your product, you actually try to sell the new way to think, how to work, and it's up to the owner of the company. I think it comes down to the owner of the company.
You have to start on top, actually.
If he is a Microsoft fan or an Apple fan, but you can offer all these areas.
I mean, it doesn't really matter on the personal level what your liking is. You always have to have a look at what the company offers, right? So if the company is set on PC, working with Windows, because that's what they implemented. If they work with, let's say, Office 365 and Outlook based, workflows, then we deal with that. It's like you can streamline kind of any workflow in a company, right? You told me about a lady who receives around about 1,500 emails a week.
A day.
A day. which is crazy, right? It's like, who likes email? And what we do is, the first thing we do is go and have a look what happens in the company. And oftentimes communication is one of the things that is broken in many companies. And so we have a code of conduct in our company. If it is urgent and important, take your phone and call, right? Email doesn't really work then. You know, if you need something immediately, right now on the spot, call me. And if my phone rings and I see it's a coworker, then it is urgent and immediate. That's important, urgent and important. And then that's the first rule. You know, you only call when it's urgent, important. If it is neither of these two, you send an email. And that means you don't send emails.
Because everything is urgent.
No, because you
or important, and
because you think twice. You know, it's like you can do much of your work in the modern workspace on other channels. Let's say you and I, we work together on a report, and we have to deliver next week on Wednesday. You're on Mac, I'm on Mac, so we probably would work in Pages, and we probably would share a keynote file maybe for the presentation, a Pages for the report, and the spreadsheet and numbers to just, you know, crunch down the numbers. And we can share that easily. You can annotate, you can put your comments on you know, whatever item on the page, and you don't have to send emails. You know, usually people send a copy of the notes, the copy of the Pages file, and they ask you, could you please comment? Could you please, you know, review? Which is totally stupid.
Yeah, but I can agree. I can confirm, not agree. It's the opposite, actually. But it's a common way to do. Yeah. Sending documents around via email, so you end up with 10 or 20 different versions of your... and the worst thing is, the commenters don't see the comments of the other commenters. Yeah. So there's no collaboration going on. Exactly. So that's really a good point, and good to see other companies.
Yeah, I mean, you can do that on Google. Google, what's it called? Sheets, Google Sheets, Google Sheets,
Docs.
Google Docs, and the Google Google Spreadsheets, Google Docs, and Google
Docs is there.
And the Google. You can do that in the Google document sphere. You can do that on Office collaboration. You can do that in the Apple iWork sphere. And what you have to do is shift the paradigm, shift the thinking, and that is what we do in the entry phase with the teams we work with. Is analyze how do you do your work, and then think about it, and then you ask the question: do you think that this makes sense? Sending the same file 50 times around, so everyone can, you know, see, and then you CC and BCC people because you think, you know, I work for this guy, so it must be important for him. No, it's not for him. That's why he called the meeting for the report, right? He doesn't need to see the process. But, you know, some bosses, they want that. They want to see the entire communication. And then we say, okay, let's build a WhatsApp group. Let's build a Facebook group. Let's build a Slack group. Whatever floats your boat, we do. Right? So it's really interesting working with companies. It's really interesting working in a field where people kind of like were sleeping over the last years. And, you know, sometimes they actually said, oh yeah, we thought the internet is just a hiccup.
Well,
hiccup. Yeah. No, it's not. No, it's there.
It's the new way to work. Yeah.
And new work is very interesting. It's a very interesting field to work in. It's a very interesting concept, because it's not a concept. It's like if someone comes into your company and says, I want to sell you new work, you should kick their butts.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to have new work. I mean, but I have another important question. I know many of you out there want to know, what about clouds? Yeah, we have sensitive data, sensitive documents, and most services they are offered for collaboration are sent into cloud because it's the easiest way for collaboration. So What do you think about this? How safe is the whole thing?
I'm not a specialist on security in the cloud, but I can say one thing. You have the it depends in which industry first. Like, let's say I'm an Evernote certified consultant, and oftentimes people from banks ask, can I use that? Obviously not, right? I mean, that is highly sensitive data. Also in research, right? Pharma, universities, doctors, they shouldn't use that. And Evernote makes that really clear in the 3 rules of privacy, that they are not built for these industries. So first off, you have to do your research, and you have to think about the laws in practice in your country. So we have a very new and kind of strict data security law coming into effect in May, I believe. Which leads to loads of insecurity. DSGVO, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
I have to update my website too.
Yeah. One thing which is really interesting is actually there's not much that changes. It's just, you know, the date that is set when the whole thing goes into the legal processes,
when all the lawyers get the opportunity to hunt you down.
It's like it's like in Germany we have this expression when you ask a lawyer, wie geht es? And he says, super, ich kann klagen. So how do you do? Great, I can sue. Which is nice, right? It doesn't make sense in English, but it's really funny in German. Yeah. So lawyers, of course, earn a lot of money with this law going into practice. But as users of cloud services, we only have to follow the rules we had to follow over the last years, and that means for German and European companies that they have to host their data in the country where the main office of that company is situated. Meaning, as a German country doing business in Africa, I have to work with my business in Africa as if I am in Germany. Okay, that's the first thing. So there's loads of insecurity being spread by exactly those people who cash in on consultancy, consulting gigs on this matter. Yeah. So there are only 99 bullet points actually that you have to read. It's like 15 pages. It's not that much. You know, you sit there, and of course it's legal speak, and you have to read it twice or 3 or 4 times, and then you call, you know, your friend who happens to be a lawyer, and they say, okay, yeah, just, you know, host your data where you know it's safe, and that means in German speak, your data is safe in German server farms.
All right, yeah, it makes sense, and it's good to have a lawyer as a friend. But the thing is, are there options out there where you can just run your own servers with your own cloud within your company, so you're not forced to use any other clouds?
Yeah, there are many companies doing that. There are many companies that have their intranet, and who host their data on their own servers. And we always say, okay, what happens if your building burns down and you host your data inside that building?
But we have a backup building. Depends on the company.
Right.
Yeah.
So many companies don't have a backup building, okay? But you have to transfer the data somehow. Yeah. So either you have a couple of guys pulling out the hard drives and moving over to the next building and put the hard drives in. Usually you would use some kind of wires, or you would go over the air. So the first thing that we think of when seeing that there's only one server inside the building is, where do you do your backup? You can do that in the cloud. You can set up an own cloud server where you just simply buy storage. Right, you can do that in Germany. We have a couple of server farms here where you can actually do that, and it's totally legal. You just mirror your data over to the service, and then you are kind of safe, right? You can run cloud services for collaboration on your own server. There's one company I happened to have a nice working gig with. It's a company called Red Booth, and they offer a solution where you can either use the software in the cloud, or you can take the whole thing and bring it onto your own server and use it there, which is then the safest variety for companies who are really concerned about security, right? So, as I said, it depends which niche, which security laws happen to be in effect for your company. And then it's an individual thing, you know. We work together with IT professionals who set up servers, who set up the links to servers. Like you said, in your company, you have the server in one building, and then you have the backup, and then you might have another backup in the cloud. Maybe with the Deutsche Telekom, they host everything here.
It's Google.
And that is, huh?
It's Google.
I mean, there's Microsoft, for example. Microsoft OneNote, that was a big problem for German companies. They love Microsoft, and they don't like to have their OneNote data in the American server farms.
Yeah, that's exactly the problem.
Yeah.
And when it comes down to handwriting note-taking apps,
Yeah.
as I review many of them,
Exactly.
I never came across one single note-taking app that allows me to store my data on private servers. Oder, warte mal kurz, WebDAV, ist das?
WebDAV.
Ist das die Option, dass ich selber...
Ja.
Okay, there's some... yeah. There are just a few note-taking apps. They allow you to use WebDAV.
Yeah.
So you can run your own servers.
Exactly. Yeah.
But the common ones like GoodNotes or I think Notability allows WebDAV, but NoteShelf, they don't allow this. So you are forced to use cloud services, and it's a problem.
It is a problem, definitely. I use Evernote a lot. And if I do handwriting, I always have to think twice. Okay, can I actually write? Because I know Evernote server-wise, they OCR everything. They OCR even my bad handwriting, and they can make machine text, and they know.
They don't show you the searching results, but they still know what you wrote.
They still know what I write. So of course I use Evernote in handwriting for personal notes, for thoughts, for brainstormings. Apple Notes. It's so. We don't really know what Apple does with our data, right? They say they save it and they host it and they don't sell it, because we actually pay a lot of money for the devices. We pay a lot of money for iCloud storage, and
I mean, they showed it with the that they don't allow the face recognition, for example, being processed in the cloud. Yeah. It's only local on your devices. Which, it's not very helpful if you delete the things.
The thing is, as long as Apple doesn't publish their code in the public domain, and people can actually have a look at it, we cannot be sure what happens. I mean, with Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, we know that every single piece of data that we send there is being analyzed and is being used to send information, directed ads to sell shit, right? I mean, you are the product with these services. With Evernote, they say your data is yours, we don't sell it, but still they analyze it, you know. And if you go and brute force your way into the servers, you can just steal that stuff. We've seen that a lot of times. I use an app, it's called PDF Expert by Reddle, and they allow WebDAV. And we run an own cloud server in Nuremberg. That's called Kideo Cloud. And what I do is, in PDF Expert, I say create a new note, and I can create a simple handwritten note in there, yellow paper, blue pens.
In PDF Expert.
In PDF Expert. And I save this on our own cloud server. There are few apps actually doing that. I use Nebo, and I love that thing. If I write blog posts and I'm not into typing, I just go and handwrite, especially at night when I have to sit next to the baby and I can't, the keyboard is not backlit. So I just do the handwritten thing on Nebo, and then I double tap and have machine text. I love that app. And then we have GoodNotes, which is an application that I do have on my iPad, hidden in a container on the last page.
But the fun fact is, GoodNotes uses MyScript Nebo algorithm too.
Which is a nice thing.
but it doesn't work as good.
I mean, I didn't have problems. Like GoodNotes, they kind of they kind of can read what I write. What I don't like about GoodNotes is the whole handling of translating your written, your handwritten.
Copy,
it's
insert,
like
delete
double
the
tap,
thing,
tap that, translate, and it's
I was complaining about this already half a year
I mean,
ago.
I think in GoodNotes you use the cut tool to just circle the whole written text, and then you go and say transcribe, and then you can take the text and drag and drop it somewhere, and that is way too tedious for me. I love Nebo for its simplicity, right?
So what do? You converted a Nebo and then you exported it into PDF Expert. How do you do it?
When I write in Nebo, I don't. What I write in Nebo is not material that I save in PDF Export, because it's material that is going to be published on the web anyways.
So
right?
you use text as plain text
exactly,
and then use it. Okay.
So sometimes I just have
process it further.
Exactly. Yeah. And I don't save a PDF of what I write there. When I need a PDF of what I write, I use PDF Expert's handwriting tool inside there. It's really nice. We can go through it in the next video that we shoot, and those are the two apps that I know of where you can save your stuff on your own server. And the only app that I know of that actually OCRs handwriting is Evernote. Right? In NoteShelf 2, I like the fact that I can send what I write directly into Evernote. I'm not a big fan of how they process it. No. I would love to have one book in NoteShelf 2 that is actually a notebook in Evernote. And I've spoken to the support, and they, think about it. You never know what they do in the sprints.
What they're planning to do is that they OCR in Evernote, and then it will be synced back into NoteShelf, so your notes
which doesn't help me.
Well, it doesn't change anything.
It doesn't help.
But I just want to mention for GoodNotes,
actually.
For GoodNotes, I think, and if Nebo would implement this as well, you write something down in GoodNotes, like a task, and then you just drag and drop it into your task manager, and it directly converts it without any, you don't have to click on it, convert. You just write something down, select it with the lasso tool, drag and drop it into your task manager, and it's converted, and things are done. And that's the way I use GoodNotes. I just have a one-pager, and I just delete what I done there. I processed it, and it's done. I don't have any notebooks anymore in GoodNotes. I'm just processing.
I came across someone who kind of like solved this problem for themselves. They have a one-pager, and it's a strike-through list. So they just write down, brain drop, like you have the brain dump, like David Allen explains it in Getting Things Done. It's a really nice book. It's the only book, like some people read the Bible every year. I read Getting Things Done every year.
Me too. I'm really a fan from David Allen as well. So. Although it has been published first time in 2001, it's still up to date.
It's republished in 2016, I believe. And it's the book I read every single time, because it's like the baseline of our craft of going paperless, being productive, actually doing less work. And this guy, he did the one-pager, writing down everything that he wants to do, like everything that comes into your mind, writing that down. Then in the evening, he goes through the list and he just erases what was, just clutter that needed to go. And so he reduces the list with the lasso tool. You just move everything into a nice chunk again, and then you highlight the important stuff that you want to do tomorrow. So it's red, 3 main tasks. Then he goes through it, strike through, done. No other app needed. He just uses the handwriting tool, writes everything down, done. So there's one place you go, and that is the one thing. If you have a system, you don't need the whole technology Shazam and the deep integration you wrote about. It's a nice thing. It's very good for people who have siloed their workflows. I don't do any to-do stuff in any app that is not a to-do app. So I just go to the task manager. My manager of choice is Moleskine Actions, and that's where I come from. Handwritten notes in Moleskine notebooks, and so I use the Moleskine Moleskine Calendar and Moleskine Actions. That is my silo. That's where my personal information management lives, and everything that is group information management, that is job, project, job, that lives where the project is, where the team is. Okay.
Well, yeah, you can't gather everything together.
No, it's not possible. I tried to do that with Notion, which is another video that we are going to do together. I tried to do that in Notion, to just bring everything together, bring every job and every little tidbit of my life into one app. And I'm in week 3 now.
Yeah, the problem is you end up using more work time setting up all these systems.
Totally.
And you don't get things done in the end. Yeah?
That's part of our job, just to find out how can you use tools and what are the barriers and what are the limits. And it's like when I use tools like Notion, I invited you, hey, let's do that in Notion, and it's so new and it's buggy and it's not. You have to get used to using Notion, so you have to learn, and it's a steep learning curve in the beginning, and then it kind of flows, but there's still some hurdles that you have to take, because it's just so new what they do, that you have some resistance. Like I felt a resistance in working with Notion, and I'm about to ditch the whole tool for the sake of my own time and productivity. But I need to know how that, like, I have to be excessive, like 1, 2, 3 weeks, go in there, just get on the nerves of every person I work with. It's like, come to Notion, try Notion, let's do this, let's have a list. We ended up having a list of 5 items, 6 items in there, and then you and I said, okay, it doesn't float my boat. I use Evernote, you use Evernote. Why didn't we share a notebook in Evernote? It's try Notion.
But it's a difference as well. For me, I use Evernote only for referencing, so I'm not getting things done in Evernote. No. I'm just dumping all my minds, everything into Evernote, and I'm still using a text system. I only have one inbox. I have only a reference notebook, and that's it.
Yeah, I am about to record a new video on the tagging system in Evernote. It was the video we link in the. We can link that, but please don't send me emails.
I just wanted to mention that I really like the way you text the things, and
it is a very interesting way, and it was inspired by an article I read about. I read an article by Michael Hyatt, and we can link the article below as well. It's a really nicely written personal productivity article about how he uses Evernote and how he tags his work. And then I thought of a system that teams could use to always find everything. And the video didn't resonate as much with teams as it did with individuals. So it's actually part of the whole GIM, or in English GIM, like group information management, and it was accepted as PIM, which it is not. And there's a new article by Stacey Harmon. She is one of our colleagues in the Evernote certified consultant community, and she has written an article why you shouldn't use Michael Hyatt's tagging system if you're working in Evernote. There's one thing that we have to think about. When we wrote those articles, when we recorded those videos in 2014-15, Evernote was different as a tool and as a company. And now they introduced Spaces, which means you and I can have a room in Evernote where we either drop notes on notebooks or both. And then we actually don't need tags, because you and I are in one room that has one purpose. We work for one project in that room.
We would need to set up new tags for each room, and that's really the problem I run into. And I thought, well, he's telling that's non-plus-ultra in English.
It is. For teams, it is great, because
no, it's not, because the problem you end up is you're creating new tags all the time. Yeah, you name it. How shall I say
name
it?
You name it hashtag location A, and then you name it hashtag location A, but you wrote the whole thing wrong.
Yeah,
and then you,
exactly.
And then you go and you name it hashtag review, and the next one comes and names it hashtag reviews.
Exactly.
The next one writes reviews with a capital R. The other one writes reviews in all caps, and you have like, you know, 4 or 5 iterations of the same tag.
I mean, if you're using the desktop version, it's all fine.
And that is the same thing the internet does. Like if we are on YouTube and you type in your tags in the end before you publish the video, you see that there are many iterations of the same thing that you want to categorize in, and that is a very important thing for group information management, because there are different things that people are looking for. So you look for reviews, I look for review. If I type review, I also see that there are 13 notes tagged reviews. They might be interesting. There is a part in Evernote which is contexts, and that shows notes related to what you actually are doing inside your note. So, you know, having contexts, having very good search with the handwritten OCR. It doesn't always work, but kind of it basically finds everything that you're looking for. Tags are something that are most useful for teams, just to validate what is the group actually looking for, which is interesting for the admins. So if 15 out of 30 people are looking for review in small letters, and 3 are looking for reviews in caps, and the rest are looking for reviews with capital R, you can actually, you know, just narrow down everything to the majority. It's a democratic process.
Yeah.
Right? So
and the tag system, I mean, you can use it for this, but you can just narrow it down and use tags only for the state of your node. So you say processed and archived, so you can really have one notebook. Yeah. Everything is there, but you find the important things much faster.
Yeah. That's a very good thing. Like using tags for status, or using tags actually as triggers. So there are lots of services like IFTTT, Zapier, Filterize, and
Day One Journal.
One Journal?
Day One.
Day One Journal. I don't know about that.
You can use IFTTT and so on.
Okay, yeah. So IFTTT, Zapier, Filterize are actually using tags as triggers, which is nice, because with Filterize, for example, little shout out to my buddy Pascal. Go to Filterize.
Okay, now we end the video.
No, it's a really little shout out to my buddy Pascal. Head over to filterize.net and check out the service if you are using Evernote. It is the IFTTT for Evernote internal processes. So it only processes Evernote internally, which is really nice.
Okay.
So what you just said, archived, done, review. You can build workflows around that, right?
Okay.
So for example,
it's moving the notes to another.
For example, you have a drafts notebook, and then you have set a reminder for yourself when the whole thing should be done, and then you check the reminder is done, and then Filterize could actually take the note from the drafts notebook into the review notebook and set a new timer for 7 days. You know? And that is what you can do with tags.
That's very interesting. Yeah, I have to check this out.
Yeah, I use tags in Evernote solely at the moment to publish to Postachio, where we run a new podcasting project, and we try to host everything there. And I have deleted all other tags from my easy tagging system from Evernote.
Good to know.
Because we don't use Evernote in a big group. We are a group of 5 people with a Paperless Ltd who are using Evernote as a reference tool. We also don't get things done there. It's just there because we have a lot of handwritten notes that we need to have OCR on, and that is the main reason we are using Evernote. For the rest, we have a whole other range of tools that we are using.
So these other tools, we are obviously interested in to see or hear more, listen more about it. And it was very nice to have you.
Yeah, it's nice
here.
to be here, and I'm totally happy to.
Yeah, it's really nice. I mean,
to be in the.
It's
in the
bloody cold.
It is.
It's raining now.
We should go and have something to eat.
Yeah, that's exactly what we will do now. And well, we will do a follow-up on this one.
Yes.
And if you have any questions for Enrico, leave a comment below.
Yeah.
We will process it. Go to the Facebook group Paperless Pioneers and check them out.
Exactly.
If you're German speaking, you will be home there.
Totally.
If you have any questions about going paperless and being productive.
Being productive, yeah. So thanks for watching.
Sorry.
Let me take this. Thanks for watching. For watching this first video of Tom and I. Huh? Okay. So,
okay, yes.
yeah, thanks for watching this video. Tom and I have planned to do a couple more videos on the tools we use. We can go through my iPad, that's the easiest one. Yeah. And we also go through the PDF Expert handwriting. That is one tool that little people know about, actually. And I thought, when I discovered that, it's like, hey, that's something for Tom and I have to show him. So it's good that I'm here today. And if you're interested in joining the Paperless Pioneers community, head over to Facebook, type in Paperless Pioneers community. You'll find us there. You can also go to paperless-pioneers.com, and then you can access the Facebook group via this webpage. And of course, all the German speaking people on following your channel are invited to join you and I at the Paperless Pioneers Conference in Berlin.
Yeah.
June 9th.
I'll be there.
And we will hide some little goodie in the show notes below, where you get a nice discount for your ticket that you can buy over at paperless-conference.de.
So yeah, really check this out. Check the conference site out. There are many people, many speakers coming you will be interested in. So, well, will be exciting. I'm looking forward to this one.
There's one mystery guest I'm working on bringing to Berlin.
But we already said I'm coming.
Exactly. No, but I'm pretty sure that many of your audience know this person, and I'm we're trying to bring him to Berlin. It's not going to be easy because he is
far away. We can say this.
far away, far away.
But it will be exciting.
Yeah, it will be. So I can't dig deep into this topic, but we tried to acquire our first international speaker, and he doesn't have hair like you do.
Oh, now you know who it is.
We'll see. It's not fixed yet. No contract signed. But we try our best.
All right. Have a good time, and see ya next time.
Next video.
Next video. So
peace out. Enjoy the view.
Yeah. Jetzt ist wahrscheinlich eh schon.
So yeah, we build the bridge between the people.
Sorry.
Okay.
My heart.
It's okay.